Hi, and welcome to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. Today we're going to talk about goals and why we need them. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Kale Houser Leadership Secrets podcast. My name is Kale Houser. Thank you for joining me today. I wanted to do a little intro, and I've been meaning to do this podcast for a while. It's one of those major topics that anyone that's in the leadership space or anyone that's in business or anyone that really cares about their own life should be considering and should have thought about and gone through a process of discovery with goals. I would argue it's probably definitely right up there in top three, number one things in the top three things that you have to do in order to kind of get your life on track and be successful. It is absolutely pushed in most of the trainings that I go to. We talk about goals and we go as far as granular as, what is a goal and, all those types of things, but also, how to achieve goals and why are goals important and all those things. And again, this is a topic that is well written about. I could go on Amazon right now and find hundreds of books that talk about goals and the importance of them and what they should look like and how you should write them and how you should go about achieving them and why you should and all those types of things, right? I'm not going to go in. This isn't that. This is like I said, is going to be a little bit of an introductory as far as goals and my take on goals and what we at Kale Houser Leadership do to help our clients work through goals and figure that aspect of it out if they haven't already. I'll be doing more podcasts here in the near future. I'll probably do a series on goals and we'll talk about them specifically and how and why those matter. But I wanted to do a little bit of a more top level for those that maybe haven't thought about goals as seriously as you probably know you should, or it's been a while since you've revisited your goals, or maybe you're looking to make new goals because you've reached your previous goals, those types of things. But we all have a fundamental understanding from a young age that goals are important, right? We may not understand the term goals as far as like how that applies to ourselves and achievement and success and things like that, but we certainly understand the concept, right? Most of all of our major sporting events that we celebrate and participate in as Americans have some sort of goals, right? Hockey is the goal, and football, field goal, and all those types of things are demonstrations of goals, right? It's the target that team is striving towards. The whole point of a football game is for one team to get the football across the line and score a goal, score a touchdown, or kick a field goal, right? And same with hockey, same with baseball and all those types of things. They have those goals, that end target, that desire that they're all working towards, and they measure success by that. So like I said, goals are really, in simple layman's term, they're just a target. That's all they are. So if you're overwhelmed by the term goals of, I don't know how to write goals, or I don't know how to, write an appropriate goal, something that, the classic that we always heard in the military, I'm sure somebody stole it out of a book of, they have to be specific and measurable and achievable and all these type of things. And I'm going to deviate from that a little bit. And we'll get to that. But without goals, without those targets, right? So again, if you're feeling overwhelmed by the goals and the concept of it, because there is so much information out there are so many opinions on it, there are so many books, you're like, I can't read all 50 of these books and they all seem to say something different or just variations of the same thing. They're just targets. That's all they are. Targets that apply to specific areas of your life or your business. That's it. It's not some big, my goal is to, and this may be, I won't say that. I was going to say my goal is to be an astronaut, but that is a good goal for those that want to be astronauts, because we need astronauts. We need to be able to explore space and all those types of things, as I totally digress and go off on a tangent there. But the point of the goal is not nebulous, right? It's not some just kind of random thoughts kind of thing. Like, I want to be the best, pick some kind of weird, obscure thing, right? It does need to be somewhat specific and have a way to actually get there, right? It has to have not even that. It doesn't have to necessarily been done before, right? Because people have goals to do things that we haven't done. Maybe your goal is to build a time machine. You could certainly go that route and dedicate your life. Who knows if you're going to be able to do it or not, right? But that's certainly a goal that you may have. So go for it. That would be awesome. Although I think movies have proven that time travel is pretty dangerous in general. Okay. So yeah, targets, goals, they're really just a way to measure success, right? A goal is just a stick out in the sand somewhere that if you get to it, you will consider yourself successful in getting to that thing, whatever that path is to get to that stick, to make that accomplishment. And without those, we're really just kind of aimless. We're wandering out there. We have no idea where we're going, let alone why we're going this direction, okay? So the stick is now, it's like a vector, right? It's not only distance, or not only direction, but it's also speed. It's also distance, the length, how far away it is, things of that nature. But without that goal, we don't have anything. We're just kind of floating around like, all right, cool. We've all heard that saying of, well, at least I hope we've all heard that saying of, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And that is absolutely the case with goals. If you don't have a goal you're specifically working towards, and there could be multiple things through multiple facets of your life and in your business, you're going to fall and get pulled off by anything. And I would argue this is how people wake up one day after they've just been doing, quote unquote, doing life. I'm just living in the moment, and they're miserable. They're like, man, I haven't accomplished anything. I wanted to be an author. I wanted to write this book, but I never did. I wanted to, start this company, but I never did. I had this great idea for this product, but I never developed it. I wanted to ask that girl out, but I never did because, I got distracted by something else or whatever the case is, right? It's the same of, this is why people, they wake up and they get divorced because they've, grown apart from their spouse, right? Because they don't have any mutual goals. They don't have anything they're working towards together. They had the goal of raising their kids, whatever that kind of looks like. And then the kids go off to college or go off and, find spouses of their own. And now all of a sudden, what do the empty nesters do, right? Again, they have found themselves without any direction or targets or things to achieve. And that's not everybody, but it is a common thing that happens a lot to people. And this happens certainly in people's careers when they, maybe they early on, they got that promotion. They achieved that thing in their career, whether it be recognition or position or even started their own company. But as they settled into that role, they forgot or just didn't bother or didn't think they needed to set additional goals. So they just started stagnating. And then, a couple of years go by and they're like, man, I've just wasted these years of my life. Like, what am I doing? I'm not happy anymore, blah, blah, blah. You kind of get the point of that in the picture. And we don't want that to happen. And that another big example of that, and 100% I am victim of this, is with our bodies, with our physical self, with our fitness and our health. It's easy to be like, hey, as a family celebration, we're going to have pizza once a week, right? Or maybe once a month or just occasionally. And then like, well, man, I know we normally do it on Friday nights. We do like a family movie night or something, but I really don't know what to cook on Tuesday, so let's order pizza again, right? And you just kind of go down this slippery slope because you don't have any physical goals of whether it be working out or weight or just health in general, and you just go down and become so reactionary to the moment that you're in, right? Going back to this living in the moment type of mentality, and you just over time, you let yourself slide and again, you wake up and you're like, holy smokes, I'm 30 pounds overweight and this is miserable and I hate looking at myself in the mirror kind of thing, or I can't do a single push-up, or I get exhausted walking up a flight of stairs because my cardio is so bad, right? You've lost sight of those goals that maybe you had when you were younger, or it was just easier when you're younger because you had less distractions and less things that were, vying for your time. And this just happens, right? This is why goals are so important. All right. But I wanted to kind of relate to you that imagery without a goal, without a target is like archery, right? Archery does what? They shoot into the bullseye, into the target. Well, imagine if that wasn't there. How do you know if you're successful? How do you know that you're even doing it right? If you're just kind of shooting out into the woods or out into the prairie, right? Whatever that is at your range and there's nothing set up. Like, it gives you no direction to point at. It gives you nothing to aim for. It gives you no measurement of how well you are doing at that task, right? Are you hitting the bullseye? Are you way up here? Do you need to adjust down and left, whatever that is. And same thing like a baseball player, right? What if we removed the catcher and removed the catcher's mitt and removed the home plate? So you've got to the opposing team batter standing up there, and the pitcher decides to just pitch it off over out into the field because there's nothing for him to aim for. There's nothing for him, a target for him to hit in order to, make that happen. And I know it's kind of a stretch of a goal, but you kind of get the visualization of that, right? The goal is the pitcher to get it past the batter into the catcher's mitt, right, for that strike, and eventually, win the game type of thing. And that's what our life is like without goals. There's no way to tell if we're doing it right by our own standards, and two, to hold true to what we believe in, to hold firm, going back to that, if you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything, right? And goals get you out of being reactionary. So I wanted to, kind of just ask you, and hopefully you're thinking about this already, what kind of goals do you have for yourself? And for your business, and kind of the main categories of goals, right? Personal, absolutely. What do you want to be doing? Do you want to be married? Do you want to have 12 kids? Do you want to have no kids? Do you want to whatever, just adopt stray dogs? That type of thing. Those are types of personal goals. Professional, certainly. This is kind of the realm of this podcast is professional and how we help small businesses. What that looks like for you. I want to open formal locations. I want to, get this much revenue, whatever that is. And then that flows into financial, both personal and business. You need to have financial goals because, again, things cost money, and doing business costs money, and to be able to live and travel and send kids to college all costs money. So you need to have some sort of financial goal. And maybe that's working backwards. Like, okay, I want to buy that house up on the hill that I've always dreamed about in my community. It costs, we'll just use a round number, $500,000. And you work back from that. What do I need to do? How many things do I need to sell? What, all those types of things in order to meet that financial goal to afford that thing. Or, my daughter wants to go to Stanford, darn, I was hoping she wanted to go to community college to become a carpenter, but no, she wants to go to Stanford for, ancient Roman literature or something like that, right? And that's going to be about 40 times more expensive than anything else. So how do I afford that? What's that financial goal that I need to do to make that happen? So that's both short and long term, right? Maybe you have a short term financial goal of, I want to be, my church is building a new building, and I want to be able to donate to the building fund, because that's important to me. That's important to our community. So I need this short term goal of, raising whatever, $5,000, $10,000, $50,000, but also your long-term, that would fall into the case of like retirement or vacation homes, stuff like that. And then moving on, spiritual. Don't ignore this. You may not be a church person, right? I think I've been pretty honest. My wife and I go to church with Life Church, Pastor Craig Rochelle. We absolutely love it. That is part of our spiritual journey. It is something that is just who we are as Christians and followers of Christ, that having spiritual goals for us is very important. And this isn't, that nebulous, I just want to be more pious, right? It's not that. It's how do I, reflect the teachings of the Bible in my life to others, right? Those are the type of spiritual goals that I'm talking about. How do we get involved in our church so we can serve our community? Those are what I would consider spiritual goals. That may look different for you, and only really you can answer that, but I would encourage you to absolutely not ignore that aspect of it. Recreational. We are social beings. You cannot just work without ever taking a break. Maybe for you this is travel. Like I've always wanted, your example. I've always wanted to climb the Great Wall of China and, go see that. I've always wanted to, my ancestors are from Ireland. I've always wanted to go visit the homeland and see my family crest or whatever that is for you guys. Recreational. I've always wanted to have the boat so I can go wakeboarding on the lake, in my local lake. Those are all recreational type of things that are great goals. And then lastly, physical. We've talked about this. Have something to where, I think we kind of all understand waking up massively obese and overweight is not healthy. It is not good for your long-term health. I'm not saying we all have to be, Spartan race running, Tough Mudder type CrossFit people, that are just absolutely jacked and ripped. I am certainly not the example of that. But you do need to have some sort of physical goal in place to where you're around, in 50, 60 years for your kids, for your family, for your business, for your community. Okay, so I really wanted to, kind of ask you, what kind of goals do you have? What are you working on right now? And secondarily, and this is where I kind of diverge from, my military teachings about goals, is how scary are your goals? Are they actually doing something to spur action in you? Or are they just, my goal is to, have a comfortable retirement, have enough money in my 401k to, pay the property taxes on my house and all those types of things and not starve. But, that's totally enough for me. I'm fine buying a used vehicle every 20 years and blah, 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 right? Or are they, I want to own a yacht, I want to own my own private jet. I think that would be amazing. And I know what that would mean for me for opening up, access to the world and all those types of things. Like, how scary are your goals? In business, I want to be the #1 pest management company in all of California. I want to be the #1 car wash company, and we own more car washes in all of South Florida than anyone else, right? We dominate our market, absolutely just crush our competition, right? Because competition is for suckers, is really what it comes down to. You want to dominate. So I would encourage you, get out of that mentality of, oh, my goal is to lose 2 pounds. Like, cool, that's a start. That's not the goal. That's the beginning. That's how you get on the path to reach the goal. My goal is to run a Tough Mudder without dying, right? My goal is to run a marathon. My goal is to spend a month in Croatia. Whatever that is for you, how big and audacious is that for you? And you want to make sure that they are, because it has to be inspiring. It has to be something worthy of doing, just like anything else, right? You want to invest your time wisely, invest your life wisely, because you only get one of them. All right, so that's my kind of intro of goals. Like I said, we'll go in a little bit deeper and more expanded on this in upcoming episodes. But I wanted to give this little taste to hopefully get you thinking, get your juices flowing of how to kind of start thinking through this process and what goals will mean for your life and how to change your life with your goals and measure that success. Let me know if you've got like really cool, audacious goals. Leave them in the comments. Shoot us a like. Send me an email, kale@kalehouserleadership.com. That would be awesome. I'd love to hear about them, because I think it's just fascinating what motivates different people and what gets them going and inspired by their goals. So that, and I will, spoiler alert, spending a month in Croatia is one of my goals. It's one of my recreational goals. I think that would be really cool to get to the point where you can kind of step away from your business for an entire month and just go, rent an Airbnb or whatever on the coast of Croatia and tour around and just kind of do that. I think that would be really neat. But I know a month probably is even too long for me, because I know that would probably get a little boring after a while, after you've seen the sights and done the things and read the books and all that kind of stuff and just laid around doing nothing. But all right, guys, drop me a line. Please let me know how you're doing. Let me know if you're enjoying the podcast or not. Please leave a thumbs up, subscribe, and let your friends know. I would really appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you're doing phenomenal no matter where you're at in the world. Have a fantastic day. Bye.